The Ndebele people stand as one of the most visually striking and culturally rich communities in the world. Known for their dazzling beadwork, bold geometrical murals, and timeless traditions, they have fascinated historians, artists, and anthropologists alike. But among their most symbolic and intriguing customs lies a traditions carried almost exclusively by women. The wearing of heavy brass rings around the neck, arms, and legs. These rings did more than adorn the body. They reshaped it, defined identity, and spoke volumes about beauty, wealth, and marital devotions. This is the story of the Ndebele, their art of body shaping, and the deeper meaning behind the golden rings. The Ndebele are part of the great Nguni-speaking people of South Africa, primarily found in South Africa's Mpumalanga and Limpopo provinces and across the border in Zimbabwe. The Ndebele are celebrated for their resilience and creativity. During times of hardship and colonization, their women became the guardian of culture. They transformed ordinary homestead into vibrant canvases, painting walls with symbolic patterns. But beyond murals and beadworks, another traditions endured: the wearing of brass rings, a practice reserved for women as long life's expression of status, identity, and marital bond. The rings, known as Idzila or Isigolwani, were not merely ornaments, they were sacred symbols. Traditionally, a husband gifted these rings to his wife after marriage. The number of rings a woman wore reflected not only her husband's wealth but also the depth of his commitment. A woman might begin with just a few rings, gradually adding more throughout her life. Each addition was a statement of prosperity and love. Over years, the rings accumulated, sometimes weighing several kilograms. The Ndebele believe that the rings carried protective and spiritual powers. They were said to connect women to her ancestors, safeguarding fertility, longevity, and family unity. The brass rings were most visible around the neck. Contrary to the popular belief that they stretched the bones, the rings actually pressed down the shoulders and collarbone, creating the illusion of a longer neck. The result was a graceful and elegant silhouette that the Ndebele considered the height of feminine beauty. Similar rings were also worn around the arms and legs, sculpting the body into flowing, cylindrical forms. The process was not sudden. Girls began wearing lighter versions from an early age, with weight and number increasing as they mature. This gradual shaping of the body symbolized the passage from childhood to womanhood, a transformation both physical and cultural. In Ndebele culture, the rings were not more than personal adornment. They were statements of social identity. A woman adorned with many rings signaled that her husband was wealthy enough to provide for her. The rings also acted as visible proof of marital commitment, so much so that women traditionally did not remove them while their husbands were alive. The weight of the rings also carried symbolic meaning. The endurance of carrying them represented strength, loyalty, and the burden of family life that women bore with dignity. Thus, the rings were not simply fashion. They were living symbols of resilience, pride, and belonging. With the colonization and the spread of Western education and religion, many traditional practices faced decline. The wearing of brass rings was increasingly discouraged, as seen as outdated or even harmful. Yet, even in the face of change, the Ndebele women held on to their traditions. Today, fewer women wear the rings daily, but they remain powerful symbols during cultural ceremonies, initiations, and festivals. The modern Ndebele identity has evolved, but the rings continue to stand as a reminder of the people's deep-rooted history, beauty, and resilience. Today, the brass rings of the Ndebele are celebrated in art galleries, museums, and cultural performances worldwide. They are no longer seen as a mere body ornaments, but as a profound expression of African heritage. Alongside the striking murals and beadworks, the rings remain a symbol of the Ndebele's ability to transform everyday life into art, to turn the body itself into a canvas of meaning. As Ndebele women continue to carry forward their traditions through bead artistry, painting, and selective preservation of the brass rings, they remind us of a simple truth that culture is not static, but living, breathing, and evolving. The story of the Ndebele brass rings is not only about body shaping, it is about devotion, resilience, and identity. It is about women who became the custodians of traditions, shaping not only their bodies, but the very image of their people. In the gleam of every brass ring, there lies a history of love, wealth, strength, and art. The rings may weigh heavily, but they shine with a beauty that time cannot diminish. This is the legacy of the Ndebele, the golden rings that shaped bodies, and more importantly, shaped culture itself.